Hello and welcome back to. I'm so used to saying that. It's going to be hard for me to stop saying that. Live through Restored Linds, brought to you by 99X. That's an Atlanta radio station. It's funny how radio station commercials are still in my head after all these years back in it. That was back in Atlanta. Anyway, this week's podcast going to be talking about feline obesity and really what you feed your cat is pretty much killing your cat more than likely, or not even just cat, but dog too, and maybe even extends to bunny rabbits and other animals. Let's see, masculinity and anime, and just some other interesting family, not drama, but interestingness. Sometimes I feel like I'm adopted. My dad used to make jokes about that. Who the fuck actually makes jokes about that, by the way? Kind of demented. And it didn't bother me though. I was just like, ha ha. Dad pays attention to me. What? Anyway, so let's just get into feline obesity. And well, let me just actually explain what's been going on with my cat. If you don't like cats, fast forward to whatever. But I think it's if you have pets, I think this is definitely applicable. So we've had Tony for, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 years. I'm going to try to keep looking at the boring little camera dot. I'm sure you guys have noticed that my eyes wander when I talk to anybody in person, and same goes with my podcast here. If you're listening on audio, it just obviously doesn't apply to you, but I'm going to try, even though it's boring. Anyway, Tony developed diarrhea. I'm not even sure when, to be honest. Maybe a couple years ago. I guess it started out slow, on and off. This tail story is probably not uncommon when it comes to cats, or just pets in general. Although maybe cats have more issues with gut health than dogs. I quite honestly am not sure. I did grow up with dogs. Love all animals. Not true, actually. That's a lie. I do not like small dogs like chihuahuas. And just they're always yippy. Okay, I'm not supposed to use the word always or never. This is my own self telling myself that. Typically they're yippy and just I'm not a fan. Like I'd rather get a cat. It's like the size of a cat anyway. Yeah. I grew up with labs and bigger dogs. I like bigger dogs like that. Dogs that can actually do something and protect you. Like I love German Shepherds. My neighbor had one growing up. Sweet little dog. Little, not even little at all. Those dogs wind up having bad back issues though because they're so long. Anywho, so yeah, I'm not even sure how long it's been going on for. We have not. It sounds like we've been neglecting our cat. We have not. We've taken him to the vet even recently. Lord knows vet bills are every time you go to the vet, especially getting like lab tests done, it gets pricey. They did all these tests, sent it off to be, tested and get results back, and they found nothing. So I'm like, well, that was worthless. And in the back of my mind, me ridding my life of fragrance, fluoride. Talked about this last podcast episode. What else? Just plastics. Like I don't even like drinking water out of plastic water bottles. I mean, if I'm desperate and it's like the only water that we have, and it's like giving out free water, I'll obviously drink it. But I've been using Pyrex for years. That's glass, and it can withstand probably a nuclear explosion. I freaking love Pyrex. It's beautiful, especially if you can get into the vintage Pyrex collecting. I should pull up my collection photos here. I don't have a great display for them. I'm trying to get my husband to convince him for us to get a hutch, even though I can just be like, I want it and I want it now, wind up getting it. It's just the problem is we are running out of space, believe it or not. Anyway, tangent, not really. Yeah, old Pyrex is beautiful. They have just really cute colors, pastels, and again, it just lasts forever. Don't ever put it in the dishwasher though. You will wind up ruining them. So yeah, not only did Tony wind up getting diarrhea, again, I don't know when this started. It's been kind of on and off. He started getting blood in his stools. So, it's basically he'd be done pooping. This is TMI, but who cares? We're all adults here. Again, if this topic's not interest of you, you know how to do podcasts and YouTube. Just skip ahead. There would wind up being blood. So obviously he'd take a poo and then the end would be bloody. And I hate seeing it. Like it winds up, this is so bad. He winds up like sometimes dripping it outside of the litter box. Then we also called and then his bum gets like nasty and like crusty because I need to take better care of it, honestly. And I can't always catch him after he's gone, so to be able to wipe it, or dab it. So we call him him and his butt and his nasty butt stamping. Like he would wind up getting poop butt on our sheets, and I have to go wash that. It just got to be a freaking hassle. So our neighbor in San Jose was this dude who had 3 cats, kind of awkward, tall and lanky, but like chillest dude ever. It was actually pretty based because, I mean, shocking in California, but well, why is it moving so much? Anyway, he talked to me about raw cat food, and I was like, yeah, okay, I've heard of that. I didn't look into it then because I don't think Tony really had issues then. I'm not really sure, but now that we're in Texas and I can't handle this. It's not even about me. I feel bad for the damn cat. Obviously the whole stamping thing is really aggravating, and it's just awful seeing blood in his stools like that. And it's not like a tiny amount either sometimes. So, oh my God, this is what happens when I wear big rings, like LeChonk. I'm wearing these are my, I love Swarovski. I love blingy stuff. I used to work at this really cute, like shabby chic store in San Jose called Magpie. And this is a brand. I forgot what the brand is called, but on the rings it says, God bless myself. It says "Forget Me Not." I don't think you'll be able to see this, but oh, yeah, you can. Oh, it's kind of green. Forget Me Not. They use Swarovski. And I love them. They're big and gaudy. I love their stuff. This is Swarovski, different brand than, you can't see it because the green screen, but different brand than this one. They make bracelets and earrings and whatnot. It's like $80 for this ring. I have like 2 of them. They're my special rings, which is actually nothing. I know people spend like an obscene amount on David Yurman stuff. And I used to always despise David Yurman because my twin loved that brand and my sister did. And I'm like, oh, I'm not a sorority chick because they're sorority type. We're just like totally different. The older I get, the more I have like purged my clothing and style of like bright colors. I really love earth tones now. I've been done with wearing things that draw a lot of attention to myself and dyeing. When I used to dye my hair, I've done my hair every color under the rainbow, believe it or not. Once I realized my hair was colorful for years in California. And again, I had no idea like what liberalism or woke anything was. So I'm pretty sure people thought I was liberal as hell. I mean, maybe I was pretty liberal back then to look back on it. Not in a lot of ways, but I think in some ways, clearly I drifted really far from God and my life got in the shitter, hit rock bottom truly. I don't even know if I could ever, I'd probably be an old bat before I talked about that story because it's so incredibly personal and pretty recent. So I don't like to really divulge into it. Anyway, so yeah, I started researching the raw cat food diet, I don't know, like a week ago. And at first it's incredibly overwhelming. Let me pull up the website. It's catnutrition.org. And this dude, whoever this guy's name is amazing. And his videos are funny. Just the way he does it is great. But he tells you all about how to, food making, the diseases, diabetes, IBD, obesity, urinary tract issues, resources, vets, say thanks, blog. This is all about raw cat food. Let me see. I'm trying to change my view here on StreamYard. So, excuse me. So let me read a little bit here. Let's see. Obesity in cats is not a joke. It's an extremely serious condition that leads to all kinds of health disorders, including a potentially fatal condition called hepatic lipidosis, fatty liver disease, diabetes, non-allergic skin conditions, and even urinary tract disorders. Let's see here. It's just no good. Reddit has this whole subreddit called like delightfully chubby, and it's more often than not. I mean, not always, but it's exactly what it sounds like overweight animals and people going, "Oh, so squishy, kawaii," like whatever. But then it's gross. Like you're glorifying obesity in animals, which is horrible to see. Partially, I don't even blame people though, because we live in a world, man, where not only are we being lied to about everything, like the public school system, American history, or just history in general in the public schools, um, crap in our food, fragrance and everything, and I mean everything. What else? I mean, I've pretty much gone over a lot of this stuff. Whether or not you want to believe chemtrails, aka geoengineering, I think there is absolutely some truth to it. I still am not, contrary to what my husband thinks I believe, I'm not 100,000% convinced that the geoengineering in the sky is all, spraying us. But then again, I don't know. It's just one of those things that, will we ever know? Probably not. Um, yeah, like it's just wild to me. Like there's dentists out there that you can actually wind up going to that are not, they don't use fluoride. There's this website called International Academy of Medicine and Toxicology, IAOMT.org. Let's see here. So if you have mercury, or not mercury, but silver, is it called mercury? Maybe it is. Hold on. Let me see here. Resources, dental. Yeah, it is mercury. Like the silver fillings. You definitely want to get that crap out of your mouth. Let's see. Well, it has great resources about fluoride. It's incredible. And I had always felt like there's something with the dentistry in general. Like, I go in and they do a scan of my teeth and they're like, oh, you have a cavity in this bottom right tooth. And I'm like, where? Show me on this black and white image where this cavity apparently is. I don't feel anything going on. So I wind up fixing it, the tooth, and now I have like permanent issues in that tooth. Like it's sensitive to cold. I chew a lot more on the other side. Is this podcast going to be like about my ailments the older I get? No, it's just the facts about whatever. Anyway, so let's see. Somewhere on this website I found it. You can find dentists that don't use fluoride, and they actually. It's somewhere on this website. You're going to have to search for it. Unfortunately, I don't have it pulled up. This was like a couple months ago when I researched this. But if you want to find a dentist that doesn't use fluoride in your area, go to IAOMT.org and find your dentist that doesn't use that crap. Anyway, how did I get from diarrhea, cat to teeth? Not entirely sure. So let me continue reading the cat nutrition. Oh, I was talking about like, if we're being poisoned left and right with everything. By the way, apparently there's bullshit in dental floss, like BPAs, like plastics, which I'm zero surprised about. So I'd say go to Natural Grocers or Sprouts and get some floss that isn't got plastic in it, BPA crap. Start weeding this crap out of your life where you can. Let's see. So back to the catnutrition.org. Reducing or eliminating carbohydrates, a good idea for any carnivore, overweight or not, is absolutely essential for safe and lasting weight loss. That is why there is no way to safely reduce an obese cat's weight using a diet that contains only dry food, ever. Dry food doesn't help a cat safely lose weight and never will. And I can tell you, firsthand account, we've tried like Indoor Light by Royal Canin. And I used to think that was like top of the line, like nice food for cats, but it never reduced anything with my cat, and in fact made him gain weight. So then we switched over to, I had it written down. Let's see, which one? Over to blue buffalo chicken and brown rice recipe, mature dry cat food. Thinking that would solve the diarrhea and the blood, and of course it didn't, and still made him gain weight. I mean, our cat is 18 pounds, and that's terrible. Of course, he's a great little cuddle buddy, but it's not anything to rave about or be like, oh my God, so cute. It's horrible. It's just awful. Let's see. So Dr. Jean Hovey hits the nail on the head in her insightful article on feline obesity, observing that dry food is actually where the most dangerous calories are. The cat, she notes, is uniquely adapted to get energy from protein and fat. The cat's natural prey contains very little carbohydrate. For most cats, carbohydrates are converted to fat rather than be burned for energy. I think that's true for humans. Like if you're eating carbs and you're not doing some, intense cardio, like cycling or swimming or running, hiking, whatever you name it, cardio type stuff, HIIT cardio. HIIT cardio is terrible, by the way. I can't stand it. Bullshit. then I think it's going to be converted to flub and fat for sure. Um, I don't know, cereal is such BS food. Even cereal that, is likely low in sugar. I don't think it's, there is this cocoa cereal that I've gotten into recently. Obviously, I've let myself eat more things that I wouldn't normally ingest if I wasn't pregnant. Um, just because I care more about obviously the baby than me being like thin while I'm pregnant, which was really hard to get over at first. And I still have moments where I'm like, holy crap, I'm fat. But that's so whatever. It's the comparison culture and all these ads of pregnant moms, which probably aren't even pregnant, probably a fake belly, or like have like thin arms. And I'm like, I've gained weight everywhere. Anyway, so back to the cat article yet again. Let's see. It's not simply a matter of cutting calories or reducing fat. The concern about doing grave harm to an obese cat by cutting calories and allowing them to skip too many meals is echoed by Dr. Huffy's article, which notes that dieting to reduce calories may cause even worse problems such as life-threatening liver disease. Skipping a single meal can throw a sensitive cat into a serious problem. So obviously, don't like cut your cat's food in half or whatnot. So after doing all this research. It has on this website like food making. Let me make this bigger here. Making the pud for your cat. And there is a pictorial, which is actually wonderful, and a video. It's like has this whole meat grinder you can buy. I would play the video, but I know it's choppy when I am on StreamYard and I play a video. So if you want to watch the video, go to the catnutrition.org/pictorial.html. But I can do the image one here. So the guy in this blog shows you all of his food grinding stuff, all the supplements, all the jars he uses. So looking at this, I'm like overwhelmed because I'm like, I'm about to have a baby. This seems pretty overwhelming. Maybe I can start doing this now, but by the time the baby gets here, I'm not sure I'd be able to do this. I mean, I think once you get it down, it's fine. Even the guy said that it only takes an hour because he knows what he's doing by now. So it's like 6 bottles of salmon oil. I can't read this other one. B50 caps, L-taurine powder, looks like sea salt, and I can't read what that one is. Just supplements. And then he has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stacks of raw chicken, I think, thighs and drumsticks, the meat and heart and liver. So then he has a cute little photo of his cat staring at the meat, and he grinds up the bones with the meat. That's why he has that food grinder thingamajig. So it's just more processed photos of him and the cat looking like, yum, yum, I want that right now. Grinding the meats. So basically use the meat grinder. You don't have to do the meat grinder thing. There's ways to get around. Like the whole reason why you buy a meat grinder is I think to grind up the bones with the meat. That's the biggest issue because you can pound meat by yourself. That'd be time consuming though. This is obviously makes it less time, but the cats basically need bones for health. So that's why he uses that grinder. He shows himself opening some of the capsules and putting it into water. Oh, he's putting together the non-meat ingredients. He uses egg yolks. He swears by KitchenAid scissors in the kitchen, whisks it up, and then he dumps all that egg and supplements, whatnot, into the tub of raw meat. Yum, yum. Mixes it up. Puts it into tiny, bell jars. He said wide mouth can or freeze jars are much easier to fill than narrow mouth jars. Dumps it. Puts them back into the storage thingamajig. He basically frees all those jars, and then I don't know how he gets it from the jar to the baggie. Not sure. It's confusing. Why would you separate it? I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, you basically freeze them in little Ziploc baggies and then run it over the warm water to defrost it. Yada, yada. So I'm like, this is so overwhelming. I took all these notes and I did a lot of research on here. It has these wonderful recipes on the website as well. Multiple recipes with real bone. He's really descriptive on what to add. Let's see, vitamin E, vitamin B50. I think I already said half of this. Grind it all up. It has recipes. He said He doesn't recommend using recipes that don't use bone for long time use. Using real bone is better. Oh, okay. Real bone relies on an isolated calcium supplement. Cats should eat real bone, but if you do not have a grinder, this recipe will suffice for short-term use. It also has some gelatin in it to make up for missing cartilage. So it sounds like it's pretty important for the cat to get the bone. Like, I really would love to do all this, honestly, because I love making stuff, and I have already enjoyed feeding my cats raw food anyway. So let's see here. I looked up because I'm like, I know you can buy raw cat food. My hair looks so flat up on the top. It bothers the crap out of me. Oh, there you go. That looks nice and interesting. So I looked up some cat food store nearby called Tomlinson's, and they've apparently been around since like the 40s, family run shop or something, and a chain actually. And they have a couple of raw cat food in a container there. Not that much though. You can order through some website. There's this wonderful YouTube video I saw, or I watched about this lady doing raw cat food. I need to silence my phone because that's distracting. Let's see. I'm pulling up my history. You get to look at my history. Where is it? Am I blind? Oh, there it is. The video is called Easy Homemade Cat Food with, not using a grinder by Jess Catacles. And she talks about this website that she uses to order the supplements from. I'm not sure if she orders the raw food from there. Hair, whatever. If you want to know what it is, watch my YouTube video or something. Or just go to her video. It was really informative. So yeah, I was like, I don't know about this. It's a lot of, I was overwhelmed. I was like, this is a lot of stuff to buy and really just start doing. And I don't have counter space for that grinder, even though I'd love to do that. So I got the raw cat food that I think has all the supplements and oil and whatnot in it. I should pull that up and look at it. It's in the fridge though. But anyway, so yeah, I started feeding my cats that slowly, mixing it with a little bit of some soft food that we had left over. We'd never even fed our cats soft food, but we had some left over from, I think, when I was fostering. And this, my neighbor dropped off some cat food recently that she thought I could use. And I was like, no, this is like, I know that most cat food brands is BS. It's funny that I thought that the food that I was feeding my cat was like the best and my cat would be okay. Basically all cat food is total crap. Well, dry food. So where was I going with that? Oh, so I started, using some soft food to mix it in with the raw food so they could have like that yummy smell with it, just because they're unfamiliar with the raw food and, I'm not sure they're going to react to it. Kippy, Clippy or Orange Cat took to it immediately. I don't think he'll have a problem with eating any sort of raw food. He's proven himself with that. Juna would eat like half of it. Tony was like, oh, I don't know about this. He would eat like very little. But now he's eating a little bit more. I've weaned Juna and Clippy off totally from it, like a couple of days, even though you shouldn't really do it in like a matter of a couple of days. But I'm, I don't know, maybe impatient or something, but they're fine. So that's like super exciting. And their behavior changed literally overnight. Like Clippy will run around and be hyperactive after he has the raw food, which he's never done before. I mean, he's a hyper cat anyway, but still, this whole episode's cat lady stuff. Whatever. I know someone's going to benefit from it, Juno's kind of the same. Tony, well, the cats actually don't wind up begging in the morning for food, which is wild because they've usually, meow or thump at the door. They'll put their paw underneath the door and pull it back and it makes this thumping noise. And I was just like, for them to not, like when I open the bedroom door and they're not sitting there, for them to not be sitting there waiting for me to like serve them food was like super rare. Like I know that does not happen. But the best part about this entire story is that having Tony on the raw cat food has turned his poop into actual poop formations with like no blood. Okay, there was like a tiny, I think, dot of blood that my husband saw. But I'm like, that is incredible already. And this guy talked about how he, a lot of people vouch for it and say basically the same thing, that your cat will change overnight. Maybe he has some things here. some testimonies on his website. Maybe not. I thought he did. Let me see. Any reviews? No? Okay. Want to make sure I covered everything on the cat thing. So that was like, I'm over the moon. They actually started taking to the raw food. Now I'm like, great. Imagining going out of town and having someone care for our cats with the raw food. It's fine. As long, you just you separate it in baggies. It's not that difficult. I'm so thrilled, and I'm zero surprised that the cat food industry plus the vets is like BS. I wanted to go to his website and read his kind of backstory before I continue. He says, I'm delighted you found your way here. I'm not a vet. I don't presume to know more about feline biochemistry than someone who has graduated from veterinary school. I don't treat scores of animals every day or perform all manner of delicate surgeries and life-saving procedures. My only credential is that I use diet alone to liberate a very sick cat from a very miserable disease that plagued him for 6 difficult years. Duke got sick. Duke got well. This site was born. Duke is his cat's name. The cat apparently had, over the next several years, condition got worse, and he suffered from full-blown all diarrhea all the time. Sounds very familiar. I'm pretty sure it's pretty common. Lots of tests, a diagnosis of inflammatory bowel disease, and then on to the usual gamut of scores of special prescription diets and various other approaches, none of which made a whiff of difference for him. He was weary of suffering and was heartbroken over what he was going through. To make this story short, Duke got well quite literally overnight because I finally came to understand that if I paid attention to what I fed him, many seemingly intractable and allegedly incurable problems could disappear. It was a hard lesson to learn, and although I'm happy to report that Duke not only survived it all, but went on to thrive. The impact a proper diet can have on a cat is probably the most conspicuous and immediate for a cat suffering from digestive problems, but I learned along the way that all kinds of serious health disorders can be reversed or dramatically improved if we feed these magnificent creatures properly. What is involved, quite simply, is sticking as close to Mother Nature as you can manage. Good common sense. My experience with Duke opened my eyes in a big way to how well-meaning, overworked, and overwhelmed vets are often overlooking. He's being pretty nice here. I think they're in on it. I think it's a whole partnership scheme, however you want to say that word, that they have, like, cat food companies with the vets. Because I'm like, how in the world are vets not going to realize? Are they just as brainwashed as our hospital systems and doctors? I don't know. I'm like, you can't be that stupid. Maybe they just are. They're programmed to think one way and not think outside the box, which is kind of like the public, not even kind of, it is like the public school system, to where they could, be like, well, wait a minute, maybe it has to do with the cat's diet. Like, first and foremost, this is the parallels here with animals and humans are astounding here, where, you go into a doctor as a human and you're like, I have all these problems. And I mean, when do they ever ask you, well, what does your diet look like? I mean, unless you have a really good doctor, which I guess those do exist. I know they do exist. Then they're not going to be like, let's solve it with the easiest, most obvious thing here, which is what you put in your body. They'd rather put you on big pharma crap because, again, they think they have this partnership, which is why I think veterinarians have a partnership with the cat food companies, especially if you go into a vet office, which more often than not, they are advertising or selling some cat food brand. And, when have I ever seen it be raw cat food? Never. Maybe someplace in California, but not. Oh my gosh, speaking of our old cat vet in California, Cat Resource Center? I'm not sure. It's like the only place in Santa Clara Valley that's cat resource. It's like a cat vet hospital, cats only, which is pretty rare. But during the whole pandemic thing, we had to sit outside because we weren't jabbed. I was like, this is not, I was going to say not to Germany, but literally, like, we're the dirty, unclean Jews. It was absurd. So absurd. It was embarrassing. Hated doing anything and participating in any of that stuff in California. It was truly oppressive. Anyway, I'm not going to rant about California yet again. Horrible. I love Texas more than anything. It's absolute freedom here. It's crazy to think that California is considered an American state, because I'm like, it's not American at all. So let's see. By design or default, many busy vets are permitting the food industry to act as their proxy when it comes to nutritional decision-making for their clients. The results, sadly, are disastrous for cats. So he wrote to all these, like, vets around the school, the U.S. vet schools to let him know his research. And I'm pretty sure they were just like, okay, buddy. Like, you think they don't? I don't know. I feel like they would. How do they not know it's food related? I'm just like, I have to call BS. Anyway, so this guy was just super nice to create this website to help out people for free with videos, resources, recipes, FAQ, testimony. Oh, here's testimonies. I was looking for that earlier. Oh, so nice. Let's see. This is a long one, though. That was only one? Oh, no. Oh, no. This is a huge. Oh, has all these testimonies. I guess if you're bored, you can read them. But, oh, I love kitties so much. Anyway, let me move on to some random, kind of the same topic-ish about health and whatnot. Let me pull up the thread. So, I love my family, but some of them we're just living on different wavelengths of like knowledge. Like, I'm pretty sure all of them still use fluoridated toothpaste and use fragrance and things. My mom has actually gotten really smart about that and removing fragrance and all sorts of toxic crap out of her life because she went through a whole cancer stunt. So obviously she got smart with that and cut sugar out of her diet completely. But to the point where she uses like almond milk. And I don't agree with using like fake food products. I used to be into almond milk too, and soy milk as well, but I've just learned to stick to like as close to Mother Nature. I kind of like the cat stuff here as I can get, really. Like I don't like imitation stuff, which is funny because I was vegan for a year once back in way back then. It was literally an excuse to be thin. That's all it was. But then I also like trying all those weird foods. I like trying weird foods, but anyway, so yeah. Oh, so sister texted the family being like, it's so sad to see first of all, my other sister texted all of us being like, hey, you guys should download this app where you scan everything in your food pantry. You provide this unknown app and company all the information of what your purchase history is in your food, and it tells you alternate sources or alternate food for the items that you scan, like healthier items. So they claim. I'm like, I have so many questions. Number one, I would never trust that because you're giving away free effing data. And in this current age of the internet, all companies and internet websites want is your data and more information about you. You don't just hand that over willy-nilly, which is why I don't download apps like that. That you don't vet out. Like, pay attention to what they are tracking when you download that app. Most people just download it and go. Like, I used to download those stupid photo apps that make your face into like an anime character or something stupid. And then I had them connected to my Instagram account for whatever reason, because they wanted access to that, which means they're just gathering all data and like how I use my phone and in what way. So, the oldest sister, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, you're providing free data. And also, what are these products that the company is recommending to you? Like, you really don't think that this company, whatever that app is, didn't have some partnership or be like, a partnership. Say the app is like, hey, food company, let's work together. And I'll tell these people, these fucking dumbass fools, ignoramuses, to buy your food brand if you give me a kickback or whatever, because I use your name. It's an advertisement. I'm like, I don't know, man. I guess I think on a different wavelength of skepticism and kind of paranoia, I suppose, because I know the darkness of the internet. I mean, we don't even know how much we're being played with using the internet. I think if you're on Twitter or if you're on social media in any form, which I got to say most of us are, unfortunately, I think that we're being played in ways that we are completely unaware of. Like, there was this chick recently that was saying that there's this technology that if you take a photo in Times Square of yourself put it on Snapchat, or it doesn't matter what app it is. I don't think. No, it doesn't matter what app. The technology can apparently track it can pull up a camera wherever you are and like um, have a video or photo of when you took that photo of your selfie or what, not even necessarily a selfie, but just a photo in general. I think I have it on my saved Instagram.
A guy on Twitter just revealed software that can take an Instagram photo and use AI to search open cameras in a location to see if they can find the video of you taking the photo on that day. So the guy who created Die With Me, which is that chat app you can only use when you have less than 5% battery, just unveiled this software where you give it like the Instagram photo on the left, and on the right you see this AI searching through a bunch of open cameras all around the world to see if they can find the people in the photo with the proper location and give you the video of the photo actually being taken. I personally think this is brilliant. This must have been so hard to put together. The effect is fantastic, and it's a great way to remind people that you are constantly being watched, and so much more of your information is out there than you think. Also, it's way easier to find your location at all times than you think.
So yeah, that's basically what I already said. Oh yeah. Anyway, you can just look at my history here. Oh, so here's the thing about dental floss. I used to think Dr. Marcola was like a quack or something, and I don't think that's true at all anymore. I think that he knows what's up. Granted, you know, we'll never know if like half this shit is true, like what is true and what we see in this digital age. But he says, this is Dr. McCullough's Instagram, flossing helps reduce your risk of periodontal disease. However, researchers have discovered that the use of dental floss may actually increase your exposure to and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, since these chemicals are used to make the floss glide easily between your teeth. Scientific evidence has linked PFAS to negative liver, cardiovascular, endocrine, immune, reproductive, and developmental effects. You may easily eliminate your exposure to PFAS by choosing dental floss and other interdental devices manufactured by a trusted company without toxic chemicals. Seek out products using vegan vegetable waxes that are smoother and glide between your teeth easily, as well as those without added fluoride. By the way, I've never even thought about fluoride being in tooth floss. I'm like, oh, it's everywhere. Using nylon instead of using chemically treated silk. For other ways to avoid PFAs, click the link in the bio. Let me exit here. What else was about floss or something? There was something else I was going to say that was, so in razors. So if you look at the top of a disposable and just like a normal razor, it has that like, I think they call it a moisture strip. They always advertise it as a moisture strip, but you need to look into that one about, let's see, a simple Google or DuckDuckGo or using a Brave browser, you will find the information about this. Razor hydration strip toxic. Survey says, let's see. Let's go here, which is funny because my friend Ellen recently was like, oh, I have a rash underneath my arm and around my, crotch area. And I was like, do you know about the crap in razors? What is it called again? I keep forgetting what it's called. The moisture strip. And she was like, no. I told her, let's see here. Danger of razor moisture strips. Let's say someone is shaving their armpits. The moisture strip makes direct contact with the delicate tissue under the arms where a high concentration of lymph nodes reside. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. My bad. Let me make this bigger. The chemicals in moisture strips then make their way into our lymphatic system, as well as tiny capillaries and veins, even more so if a cut is made. Combine this with the fact that hot water opens up your pores and allows outside particles to enter your bloodstream more quickly, and you'll be quick to ditch the razors with moisture strips. Let me tell you, you definitely do not want these chemicals circulating in your body. Here's why. So they go to list like some brands like Schick Quattro Titanium that have all sorts of cyclodextrins. Weird. Just all sorts of brands, but I'm like waiting. Okay. So polyethylene glycol, also known as polyethylene oxide or PEG, is approved by the FDA, for use as excipients or as a carrier in different pharmaceutical formulations, foods, and cosmetics, according to some manufacturers. However, a quick look at an MSDS sheet for PEG says, after contact with skin, wash immediately with plenty of water, and not for use in food, drugs, or cosmetics, and may cause skin irritation, may be harmful if absorbed through the skin. Unbelievable. And this is a product that is in the strips. I'm scrolling up to see polyethylene glycol. I'm sure it's listed somewhere. Um, obviously, why would it's obviously somewhere in some of the ingredient lists. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies ethylene oxide as a known human carcinogen, and 1.4, which is I think the same as point dioxane, as a possible human carcinogen. There's titanium dioxide. This chemical is a moderate concern for cancer or organ system toxicity and is classified by the Environmental Canada Domestic Substance List as toxic and harmful. Polysorbate 20, BHT, I don't know how you say this, like any of these. I don't think it's taco. Tocopherol acetate, phenoxyethanol, whatever. Fragrance. Oh, yeah, fragrance. Fragrance in any kind of personal care product is a major problem. Fragrance on an ingredient list refers to an undisclosed mixture of various scent chemicals, which can be linked to all kinds of things like allergies, dermatitis, I think I'm saying that right, and respiratory distress. Man alive. Color additives. What razor blades use instead? I stopped using just a normal razor, and I use like a beard trimmer. I think it's a beard trimmer or a hair trimmer. I don't care if it doesn't get as close of it as close of a shave as a razor would. It's close enough. Seriously. I also use it on my legs. It's quicker. You can do it while it's dry. You don't have to be in the shower. I'm like, why weren't these razors, the electric ones, ever marketed to women anyway? Like, they're amazing. I wish I knew the brand that I bought, because I did some research about what the best razor is to get. All right, the razor that I use is Braun S7. So, anywho, that is kind of not a tangent. It's all a tangent. Who cares, Lindsay? I didn't finish my story, but it kind of told one of the other stories about that whole app thing. But my sister was like raving about this thing called, I guess I could pull it up. This is not an advertisement. This is me talking shit on it. It's called Viome. Restore your microbiome health. It's some test that you donate your blood to this company so they can test it for you and tell you how your gut is and tell you that your inside body gut's age. She was like, my sister was raving about my inside. How did she word it? It was so cringe. I bought and took the Viome health kit, and it said my internal age is 32. Whoop, whoop. I'm like, basically, she sent a text to the whole family being like, my inside gut age is 32. Whoop, whoop. Cringe. Like, really, you don't think this company will lie to you and be like, look at you, girlfriend. You look so young. You look like you're 32 on the inside. Number one, of course, going to stroke your ego, because why not? I'm like, you just gave away your DNA and blood and everything to some random ass company that tells you about your gut health. I'm like, maybe tackle your gut health by reading up on it and reading books. Maybe it doesn't even take that long in this current age of the internet to find information about anything. Drink some kefir or eat some, not sauerkraut, but no, sauerkraut too, I believe. Anything fermented. I'm like, it's mega cringe. I have to keep my mouth. I don't have to keep my mouth shut. It's just half the stuff my family sends me is like stuff that I just don't connect with. I'm like, I don't want to be that person that's always like the negative Nancy or going against the grain, even though it's always been me. I don't do it on purpose, damn it. I'm just like, I think it's unbelievably foolish that you're giving some random ass company your blood. Like, you don't know what the F they're doing with that. Whatever. Anyway, so I have. Let me exit this out. I don't want to give you more ads. I could have made this the entire podcast episode. So back when I, early transvestigation or just researching the agenda about transgenderism, and I was just fascinated with like, why in the world is this a thing, especially with males or young males as well? It actually doesn't matter, just males, period. There's this website or blog post from feministwiki.org. It says blog of that wizard guy, but it seems like it's written by a woman because they know a lot about feministy stuff. Whatever, it's probably a dude. It's called Masculinity, Anime, and Gender Dysphoria. Basically, I read this a while ago. I want to read it again. So it starts off with this whole like feminist thing about males. I mean, a lot of it I think is true about, let's see here. If a boy is meek, passive, gentle, or otherwise feminine or effeminate, the boy will be met with disapproval or disappointment. Toy preferences will be police. No, you don't want to play with the pony or the Barbie doll. Those are for girls. Clothing is policed. Only girls wear cute pink frilly dresses and skirts or t-shirts, pretty kittens, whatever. I'm like, that's gonna be me. Like, no lie. Like, I don't give a crap. I'm not of the mind of like, let the clothing is innocent. I don't think it is at all. Again, in my research, when young men or boys put on female clothing, it does something to their brain about sex, and it does something. Let me just put it that way. The amount of times in my research that men that have autogynephilia have admitted that they tried on a dress or something when they were really young. There's something to it. There is something to it. So I definitely don't want my kid playing with female stuff. Like, absolutely not. I don't give a shit. At the same time, I'm not going to sit there and police a kid and be like, you're not allowed to cry or you can't feel feelings. I think that is total BS. And the article in the beginning of this was kind of written like all men are this way and they're all raised this way. And I don't think that's true at all. Maybe, I don't know. We don't know how common it is, but let's see here. This is some quote by Bell Hooks. This is cringe because it has like, it just sounds feministy, but the first act of violence that patriarchy demands of males is not violence towards women. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm not a feminist anymore. I am not for abortion, even remotely. If you're here to argue me on that, GTFO, I'm not going to sit here and argue it. You are literally killing a human life. Life is, starts at conception. I'm a full-fledged Christian. I love Jesus Christ. Like, I am not a rad femme or anything anymore. So if you think that I am, then you're sorely mistaken, I guess. I wouldn't say sorely mistaken, but I definitely learned a lot from the feminist stuff that I went through. Like I wouldn't be doing an at-home birth at all if it wasn't for me attending Women Pick a DC last year? Whenever that was. Even though I wanted to launch into that too, by the way, about how Women Pick a DC wound up being a total shit show. Like, I was so funny. I was like freshly damaged from the whole Ubisoft, Me Too thing. So I fell into feminism. It was just a perfect combination of things for me to fall into feminism then, because I was so damaged by men then. So, I thought I was like saving the world going to Women Pick a DC, which is, no, we didn't. The woman that ran that event is a literal black magic practicing witch. She stole the 30 grand that was raised for, women and girls and ran off with it. She's a freaking psychotic lunatic. And the majority of the women that went to that event are so damaged, so living in a perpetual traumatic cycle of, whether they've been raped at the hand of a man, abused by the hands of a man, or just like hate men. It's so toxic. And I got out of it because it's a repetitive, vicious cycle of like hating men and living out your trauma perpetually. I applaud women that still stick up for women and girls, but at the same time, me personally, especially like fighting it in the public schools, I think is entirely useless. I've come to the conclusion that this is nothing new of public schools being captured because it's run by the government. And it's, they've taken God out of schools where you can't pray. You can't even mention the word Jesus. You'll be fired if you're a teacher. You'll be, taken out of school if you're a child or a student. There's a wonderful documentary called Indoctrination. I think I mentioned it last episode that really opened my eyes to a lot of this stuff is nothing new. Like the whole perverted books in schools is nothing new. I mean, this is stuff in documentaries back from the 90s. I mean, it goes back to like the 1800s of like Darwinism and secular teachings in public school. Like it would be incredible if your kid winds it, you teach your kid godly values and then you throw them into public school and they wind up not being fallen away from God. Like it's pretty common that happens. So I just think that public schools know exactly what they're doing, and all the shenanigans they play with you at like the, what do they call it? Just the public school. What are they called? I forgot what they're called. The meetings where like the public can come speak on matters at the school. Recently they silenced some of the women locally at Round Rock ISD. That was a school I was standing up for women and girls at. But I'm like, if you're a parent that has a kid in public school at this point, and you're still ignorant, either A, you're ignorant about the whole trans agenda and what the school is doing, or B, you know, and you're still putting your kid in public school, then this is fully on you as a parent. Because if you know, then what are you surprised about? The public school is not going to change. I don't think, like, especially with the amount of power they have. I guess it sounds very pessimistic of me, but I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm over. I don't have a kid in the public school. I won't put my kid in public school. So it's not, why am I some woman at the time? I wasn't pregnant. I didn't have any kids in that public school system. Why is it that I'm sitting here fighting for these kids in this school, where the school should be, I mean, that room of the meeting should be filled with all the parents at that school fighting for this. Like, where are all the parents? So, it's kind of absurd. They know what they're doing. It's all demonic and evil, and they're trying to literally capture your child and either sterilize them, have them be a slave to the government. They're indoctrinating your child to be a compliant little slave to the government, whatever the government says, especially if they go to college. My God, forget about it. And I love defending women and girls. I do think it's important, but it's just, I don't feel like it's my job anymore. I did what I could do at the time. Plus, I'm half the time nauseous and I don't want to do anything. But anyway, basically, this was like feministy quote saying that men kill off parts of themselves that are emotional. And I think there's definitely some truth to that. Let's see. So it's basically like, boys are not supposed to cry, not supposed to be sensitive. It can't be too gentle. Blah, 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 blah. So it basically is like, saying repression never fully works. The boy is left with the feelings, deeply seated, longing for all those feminine deemed feelings, longing for enjoying life again, for being allowed to enjoy life even, which, I mean, it's kind of dramatic how they wrote this, but I think they definitely have a point here with, if you suppress a boy, or even if you have a boy that maybe didn't have proper mothering by a female mother, like, showing care and gentleness. I thought this, by the way, before I saw this article, but it makes sense to me that men or young boys would gravitate towards anime, because a lot of anime is very girly, overtly so. And so the article goes on to talk about there's this whole genre that's basically called slice of life in anime. It's sometimes it's also called Ayashiki. Ayashiki? I don't know how you say that, dude, at all. A Japanese word literally meaning healing. This is I did for research watch an episode of anime from this Hidamari sketch, which apparently this person claims is one of the best overall animes in history, to be quite honest. And again, if this is a dude that wrote this, cringe. Anime is poison. Like, I don't care what anime it is. I think any anime is like a gateway drug to fetishy BDSM sick shit. Like, honestly, period. Like, it just is. It just is, because I've experienced that, And even my midwife's assistants talked about that. How because I was like, keep your kid. Her kid loves anime, she claims, and it's like, keep your kid off Tumblr and DeviantArt. And she's like, oh, I know it's like softcore porn, horrible. She said, back when she was reading manga, it was like perverted and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. So this version of anime, which is the, called the healing thing, is generally all the main characters are female. Male characters tend to be rare, sometimes entirely absent from the series. The context is oftentimes as schoolgirls as high school or something similar. So the episode I watched, I was trying to find the pedophilic aspects of it, because in this article, it mentions a big shocker, by the way, that they said, I won't even get into the whole pedophilic aspect of it. And I wish they did, because I think it's important, especially nowadays, to talk about that, because they're coming for your children. And it's just, I don't even know if it's subliminal at this point, but anyway, all the characters are ultra feminine blobs of cuteness who tend to express their utter joy in life in the most cheerful and dramatic ways possible, or at least represent various stereotypes of femininity that exist in Japanese culture. They showcase purified, sterilized, highly idealized versions of femininity. So this is like My Little Pony and Bronies then, right? Adult men creating a subculture around cartoons made for young girls. Well, not quite. These animes are made for men. The official target demographic is more often than not seinen. I don't know if that's Japanese, meaning adolescent boys and young men, sometimes older men even. Ugh, ugh. Which is also why the female characters are frequently covertly or overtly sexualized. And that I didn't see anything, and I only watched one episode because it's quite frankly pretty boring. But I mean, it is cute, and like I totally get why people are into the cuteness of anime. Like I totally get it. Like there were some animes I used to like not a lot though. Wolf's Rain, Nana. I don't know, because usually I hate the drawing style, but I mean, it is a trap. The whole cuteness of it is absolutely a thing, and I don't know what that is about. It's like people that are heavily into Disney and even into their adult life. I think there's something psychological about it, and Disney has learned to trap your psyche. Like if you're a damaged individual, I think you are more prone to loving Disney because it gives you like happy, good feeling vibes. And I guess it's an easy way to feel happy, good feeling vibes by spending an arm and a leg, by going to Disney and eating horrible food dyed, sugary foods that I don't know. I tried the Dole Whip thing and I was like, meh. People are obsessed with that damn thing and it sells out. I'm like, what is, I don't get it. Anyway, there's nothing healthy at Disney. Let's see. The Japanese seem to have learned to turn the repressed femininity of young men into profit. By the way, said representation of female characters is not unique to, this genre. Romantic comedies, action anime, and really any genre of anime frequently contain female characters of the same nature. One doesn't need to indulge in die-hard, healing culture. They abbreviate it with CGDCT, which, what does that mean again? It means, I don't know, what a weird abbreviation. They don't explain what the abbreviation means. That's weird. Am I missing it? Anyway. So, and then they go on talking about foxes in this anime are like one of their favorite characters, whatever, maximum Q, maximum healing. And it explains, number one, like, I mean, when I was, going to Fanime, not even that long ago, there was a lot of people wearing foxtails, foxkin. Like I am related to foxes, all that total malarkey BS. So it's not surprising they use like more adorableness in their anime. Let's see. For the repressed, lonely boy, getting into such anime is, first of all, a way to indulge in the joys of femininity in a way he finds himself acceptable. It may not be entirely socially acceptable for young men to watch girly anime, but the male-dominated subculture around them and the knowledge that the anime are officially made for young men provides sufficient self-justification to overcome the internal fear of blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Since the anime girl represents all those repressed emotions in the purest, most concentrated way possible, and as the boy indulges more and more in the media, he is overcome with the desire of becoming like her. A strong identification with the cute anime girl forms. He finally admits he always wanted to be soft and gentle like her, carefree and cheerful like her, enjoy life in its fullest without the heavy chains of masculinity like her, and a belief in female gender identity begins to form. I have to go on a slight digression as well, blah, blah, blah. So they're saying that they don't know what quite explains the development of autogynephilia. I think it's just a male being a male, and like that having that sex drive and being overly sexual and wanting to fap, to be quite honest, in layman's terms. So, if you want to read the rest of the article, it's there. And I thought it was interesting, and it definitely opened my eyes a little bit to boys falling for I think anime is trash. And if your kid is into it, I have to like warn you. I wish I had more like solid evidence other than claiming it's trash. I mean, I've talked at length, I think, about it a lot, but I just think that young boys, especially at that age when like hormones are raging, they don't know how to deal with it. And I don't know, man, it's creepy. And I think I'm not going to have my kid watch it at all. So I'm going to be a really fun mom. And not that every kid like loves anime anyway. They don't need anime. A boy needs to be a boy and do boy things. I am strongly for a masculine man, doing manly things, doing boy things. I am all for that. I realized that during the whole feminism thing as well, that I'm like, there's nothing wrong with dress, stereotypes like boys wearing blue or girls wearing pink or whatever, or leaning into I hate using the word gender, but like gender roles, like things that come natural, like a woman staying at home, cooking for her husband, sewing, doing like things that feminists would, cringe or die of hearing that they would have to do. Or I don't believe a woman should, I've already said this before, but I don't believe women should, go to work and leave their child care up to some random ass stranger. Like I'm not for that. I'm for the classic old dynamic of husband, male figure goes to work and does the male thing. Female does the baking, cooking, cleaning. I used to struggle with that too, where I'm like, oh, why doesn't the man help out a little bit? But now I'm like, I'm happy if he helps out a little bit. I'm just, my relationship with my husband is so much happier that I've removed all the feminism stuff. And I've just leaned into my domestic housewife roles. Like I truly, honestly, I can definitely say that. Like I love cooking for my husband. We have enough space in our kitchen now to actually do recipes. I've already talked about this as well, but it's wonderful. So I think it's such a lie. Feminism is such a lie. And it just makes me sad because the women that are fighting for women and girls that are like feminists and whatnot, I think a lot of them are great women that are just living out their traumatic cycle over and over. And I really feel for them. And because I was there too, I think that you can definitely find healing through Jesus Christ alone. If you don't have God in your life, I think you're walking around, you're walking around with a God-sized hole in your heart. And, you'll fill it with things that aren't God, obviously, that you think will make you happy. And maybe it makes you happy temporarily and you're trying to find yourself throughout all that. But in my personal, legit life experience, the only way I've found pure happiness is being closer to God. And, I've fallen away from God multiple times in my life. And every time I felt the most at peace from anything going on in my life, it's been when I've been closest to God. I go to church. Well, we try to go to church every week, but weekend. But sleeping in and whatnot, being pregnant is a good excuse, I guess, not to go. Plus, we miss our church in San Jose, so we keep watching our church in San Jose at home. But we got into a small group here locally, and if you can get into a small group where you are, makes a huge difference. And it's just like, I thought I had all these friends in California that really cared about me. And, but when I look at the parallels of my small group and how they actually genuinely care for me, it makes me want to cry because like, God is amazing. And the blessings that he has put in my life are like so tangible and real. And like, I was all worried about who's going to throw me a baby shower because I don't have my family or friends here. And people from the women from my small group stepped up and are going to do the baby shower for me. And like one of the ladies in the small group is going to make a cake for me without a food dye. I don't know. It's just like, these people are so selfless, and didn't know I'd get emotional about it, but the power of God is truly profound in my life and unbelievably undeniable. Just like, the more I've talked to God and prayed and been steadfast about it and put all my trust in him, like the more he winds up answering prayers that I didn't think that he would answer, like, because I'm just like, oh, these aren't that important. Why would he answer them? And then like randomly another prayer got answered that I didn't think was that important. I don't know. It's so beautiful. And it makes me sad because people don't know what they're missing, because the public sphere has really done an excellent job at smearing Jesus and God and everything biblical and the church and whatnot. So, and I can say that for myself here, that a lot of the reasons why I didn't want to lean back into God is like, I had this stupid irrational fear of like being judged as a Jesus freak. I think it really kind of goes back to high school stuff where, I had this stupid fear about being judged because my mom always drilled into me that people would judge you by the way you look. People will judge you. People will judge you. And, she's not wrong on that, sort of. I mean, people do judge. People are going to judge you no matter what anyway, though. So who gives a flying F? Like, so, I just have that stupid fear about people caring about, or not caring, but being like, oh, you're gay for liking Jesus. Okay, Jesus freak. I'm like, yeah, I am. I don't even care. Like, you don't even, I'm the older I get, the more unaffected I am by that garbage. Of course, it's people that don't know the love of God in Christ that will try to bash your love of Christ and your joy that you find through Christ for whatever reason. And I really feel for those people because they are entirely missing out on God's love and grace and just beautiful prayers that can be answered, and how dramatically your life can be changed. Like, you are truly a new person when you accept Jesus and invite God into your life. It will make you a new person in a good way. So on that emotional goodbye, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, just hang in there and talk to God as usual, because he will assist you in your life in ways you never thought possible, because he is the almighty and supernatural in that way. So again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys probably next week. Hey there, thanks so much for listening to this podcast and making it this far into it. You can support my podcast and what I do many ways. Head to my website, which is lindsayplatotianart.com/shop. There's all sorts of goodies you can buy there on my website, like the Skeptic Pin, the Adult Human Female Pin, the Adult Human Male Pin. There's all sorts of embroidery goodies and crafty goodies that I make myself that you can support by purchasing these items. Or head to mysubscribestar.com/distorted lens and become a rational revolutioneer, where you can support my podcast with a monthly subscription. Or head to paypal.me/LP Foster Kittens, where you can leave a one-time donation or multiple, however you want to do it. A free way to help out this podcast is to share this podcast on social media with your friends, or leave a Apple Podcast review, which just head to Apple Podcasts, scroll down, leave a 5-star review, and write up a little comment. Thank you so much for supporting my podcast in whatever way you're able to support it. Until next time, party people.